Hey everybody, I want to continue to talk about my journey with my over scrolling problem. So last few videos I talked about a couple of things I did to kind of start out with. The first thing that I did was I started to unsubscribe, unfollow, don't show me this, to anything that made me angry or wasn't serving me. So I'd been blogging about craft beer, so lots of that stuff, just kind of disengaged with that. Lots of politics, unfollowed anything that had politics. And after the election, that was like everything, pretty much. So what that did was it really deadened the engagement for me. So anger and fear are the highest engaging emotions. So I just tried to cut that stuff out of my life and just make it less engaging. That's what they call it, engagement. And so just doing that, I deadened that. The second thing I did was I made my bedroom a sanctuary, and I said no phone in the bedroom. And this effectively cut out an hour at the end of the day and an hour at the beginning of the day. And honestly, when you think of it like that, you're ending your day without your phone and beginning the day without your phone. That's a good thing. Getting more sleep, more time for stuff, and just cutting out hours of using the phone. The third thing I did, and it was a big step, I didn't do this right away, but a big step for me was towards the end of the day when I got home from work. Sorry, the mosquitoes out here are terrible. End of the day when I got home from work, and now even, before dinner, I put the phone upstairs and I plug it into the wall to charge it. And it's basically, I don't use my phone the rest of the night and not until the morning. It sounds pretty big, and I'll explain why it isn't that big of a deal. But obviously that helped because the phone is right there. And so I did replace it, and I knew I was going to do this, but I replaced it with using my laptop. And the laptop I knew was not as engaging as the phone. So I still had access to Reddit and Facebook. Those were the two main things that I would go on. And I knew that I still had access to my chat messages from my Android phone, messages.google.com, in case you're not aware. I didn't have to go on Facebook, so I could block it on my computer. I could go to messenger.com. I still had a group chat on there that I wanted to keep in touch with. And just in general, like having the laptop I just felt more available. My kids, I felt more present with the kids. They were able to, they didn't feel like they were interrupting me, and I didn't feel like I was being interrupted with the laptop. There's a little more friction in opening it, going to a thing. And honestly, there's a niceness to the being on the laptop and chatting with people. I grew up on AOL Instant Messenger, and this kind of had that old school feel. And we got Gigi here today. Say hi. So having that laptop helped. I still went on stuff. I still went on Reddit. I still went on Facebook, but my phone was upstairs. It wasn't as addictive. I didn't over scroll. I still went on it plenty. It was still a problem, and we'll talk about that in the future. But I was just trying to take just steps. I wasn't trying to quit cold turkey. I was trying to go one step at a time and just slowly transition myself away from my phone rather than a big change. And the reason this works is because taking the phone out of your pocket or off the table is super low effort, super low commitment to decide to do that. If I want to use my phone and my phone's upstairs plugged in, that's a big commitment. So I'm using the size of that commitment for me, to my benefit. That's a huge commitment. Am I really going to go upstairs, unplug my phone, and check something on my phone? No, I'm not going to do it. Of course, I use my laptop, but it's a huge commitment. James Clear, I believe in Atomic Habits, describes this as adding friction to a habit, and that really works if you can find a way to add friction. I joked with someone when we were talking about on a weight loss journey that, like, honestly, if I put my refrigerator in my garage, I would cut down huge on the amount that I ate. And so this is the same idea. Put the phone upstairs. A lot of people use lock boxes. I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to go to that extreme, but I know people who've done that to great success. And it ended up working. Next time, or in a later video, I want to talk about kind of what I did next. And I should mention that all throughout this, I did end up blocking a couple of, I uninstalled apps, Facebook and Reddit on my phone, and I blocked those sites on my phone. But during this, I did have those websites available on my laptop. And we'll talk about what I did eventually once I realized some old behaviors were coming up in a different video. But those 3 steps, unsubscribing to things that aren't serving you, making you angry, making you afraid, the doom scrolling stuff, unsubscribe, don't show it to me. The second thing was turning my bedroom into a sanctuary, no devices in the bedroom, had to buy a physical alarm clock. That was huge, probably one of the biggest things I did. I'll never have my phone in my bedroom again. And then at the end of the day, choose a time, whatever time, phone goes upstairs, plug it in, and then just add that friction, create a large commitment for yourself that you probably won't, break. And yeah, those 3 things were really helpful for me. Try them out. I want to know if they help you out. If there's any tips or tricks that you've done that have helped you, I want to hear about them. Throw them in the comments. If you know anyone, share this channel with them. I'm going to be posting tons of content around helping people with over scrolling. And honestly, the biggest thing you could do is like the video and subscribe to the channel. That would be amazing as I start this new chapter, new project. So that's all I have for today. Thank you so much. Until next time, talk to you later. Bye.